Oracle Corporation is the world's third-largest software company with a revenue of $42 billion and employs over 143,000 employees. Oracle Corporation was founded by Larry Ellison, who is the world's 8th richest person, and according to Forbes, his net worth is around $104.2 billion. Steve Jobs was his good friend and was his official photographer during his 4th wedding. He hated Bill Gates so much that during Microsoft's antitrust investigations, he hired private investigators to help the feds. Microsoft's antitrust lawsuit was the Gates' most low point of his life and was the reason he stepped down as CEO of the company. However, Larry Ellison and Bill Gates resolved their issues, and both were found together watching a tennis match at the BNP Paribas Open tennis tournament. Ellison also pledged to donate his wealth to the Giving Pledge, which was started by Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. In 2004, he bought the 5 houses on Malibu's Carbon Beach for $65 million, which was at the time the most expensive deal to buy real estate. To date, he has bought around a dozen houses at Carbon Beach, which cost him around $229 million. Apart from real estate, he also likes to buy expensive yachts. He owns 58-meter Ronin, the 75-meter Katana, and the gigantic 138-meter Rising Sun. His 88-meter super yacht Musashi costs around $160 million. It comes with 2 master suites, 6 guest suites with proper ensuite bathrooms and dressing rooms, a spa pool, an indoor and outdoor gym, the main deck lounge area with large cinema, basketball court, and many more. All yachts' names are directly linked to feudal-era Japan, as Japan inspired Ellison the most. Not only yachts he likes to own, but he also owns a Russian fighter jet MiG-29. To fly this dangerous plane, Ellison got special training and a pilot's license, but unlucky for him, the US government does not allow him to fly it inside its territory. In 1990, Ellison made an incredible business mistake that almost cost the Oracle Corporation to go bankrupt. Want to know how a 2-time college dropout and the man who was destined to go bankrupt became one of the richest men in the world? Want to know his life story? Watch the full video. We at Business Chronicles tell the stories of extraordinarily successful people. Please subscribe to our channel to help us in making more videos. On August 17, 1944, Larry Ellison was born in New York City. His mother was a Jewish single parent, while his biological father was an Italian-American Air Corps pilot in the US. At the age of 9 months, he was treated for pneumonia. After he recovered, his mother sent him to Chicago to live with her aunt and uncle, Lillian and Louis Ellison, who eventually adopted him. He wasn't reunited with his birth mother until 1992. Unlike his cold, unsupportive, and emotionally distant adoptive father, Ellison has fond memories of his adopted mother. Larry Ellison went to South Shore High School in Chicago. In 1962, he was accepted into the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign as a pre-med student. He was honored as the school's top science student, but after his second year, he dropped out because his adoptive mother had just died. In 1966, he briefly attended the University of Chicago, where he majored in physics and mathematics and was exposed to computer design for the first time. After failing to complete his studies at both the University of Illinois and the University of Chicago, Ellison relocated to California and worked as a computer programmer for several companies during the ensuing years. In 1973, he began working for Ampex, an electronics company where he was supervised by Bob Miner and where he met fellow programmer Ed Oates. After leaving Ampex in 1976, Ellison became the vice president of research and development at Omex, formerly called Precision Instruments. Ellison was inspired to create Oracle after reading a research paper on relational databases by Edgar F. Codd, a British-born computer scientist. Edgar's research proposed a novel approach to storing and retrieving large amounts of data. Relational databases had the potential to revolutionize business processes, and Ellison saw the potential even before IBM and other perceived competitors moved beyond the research phase. In 1977, Ellison, along with 2 former co-workers at Ampex, Bob Miner and Ed Oates, invested $2,000 with $1,200 coming from Ellison to launch Software Development Laboratories, now known as Oracle. The CIA awarded them a $50,000 contract in 1978 to create a relational database management system under the codename Oracle. This was instrumental to their early success. Over the course of the next 2 years, Ellison and his team developed the first commercial version of Structured Query Language, or SQL, which was used for the management of relational databases. Upon its release in 1979, Oracle 2 was the first commercial relational database, and the CIA quickly became one of its earliest customers. This contract with the CIA was the premise for Ellison to rebrand software development laboratories as Oracle in 1983. Oracle enjoyed explosive growth throughout the 1980s, leading to its IPO in 1986. By 1987, Oracle surpassed all other companies in the database management industry and took the top spot. In his early years at Oracle, Ellison won an Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award in the high technology category. Ellison took Oracle public in 1986, and since then, the business has weathered several storms, including its first quarterly loss in 1990. Oracle's stock price plummeted after an internal audit revealed that the company had inflated its profits. In 1992, with the introduction of Oracle's 7 database software coupled with managerial restructuring, the business saw an uptick in finances. Oracle 7 was vital to a wide range of industries including finance, manufacturing, transportation, and retail. In 2000, Ellison's total salary was about $1.84 billion, making him the highest-paid executive in the world at the time. Oracle's market value nearly tripled in the decade leading up to May 2009, reaching a total of $98 billion. In the middle of the 1990s, Ellison sensed the golden chance to challenge Microsoft Corporation, so he created a low-cost alternative to the traditional desktop PC dubbed the Network Computer, or NC. As an early version of what we now know as cloud computing, the NC lacked the resources of a traditional personal computer and instead relied on remote servers to access its data and run its programs. The NC was envisioned to replace Microsoft Windows PCs on most corporate workstations, but its development was stalled by the falling PC prices and other technical delays. Ellison ultimately conceded that the NC was ahead of its time in terms of technology. Nonetheless, Oracle created web-compatible products which contributed in part to the company's growth. At the beginning of the 2000s, Ellison had bought off many competitors in the software industry. There were dozens of mergers and acquisitions, with some of the largest being the multi-billion-dollar deals for PeopleSoft in 2005, Siebel in 2006, BEA in 2008, and Sun Microsystems in 2010. By 2020, at the inception of the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, Ellison had equipped Oracle's network architecture to support the rapid expansion of cloud-based enterprise technology firms. Zoom Video Communications Inc., the industry leader in enterprise video communications, opted for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure in April 2020 to keep up with the rising demand for its services. Following Steve Jobs' return to Apple Computer in 1997, Ellison was appointed to the role of director at the company. He resigned in 2002. In 2009, Ellison spent $100 million to buy the Indian Wells Tennis Garden and the Indian Wells Masters Tennis Tournament in California's Coachella Valley. So far, he has invested an additional $100 million into the club. On September 18, 2014, Ellison moved Mark Hurd from his role as president to CEO of Oracle. Safra Catz also became CEO, moving her from role as CFO. Ellison is now the CTO as well as the executive chairman. Ellison is a shareholder in companies like Salesforce.com, NetSuite, Quark Biotechnology Inc., and Astex Pharmaceuticals. In November 2016, Oracle acquired NetSuite for $9.3 billion, and as of the acquisition date, Ellison held 35% of NetSuite. After purchasing 3 million shares of Tesla Inc. in January 2018, Ellison was elected to the company's board of directors in December 2018. In August of 2022, Ellison resigned from the Tesla board. Larry Ellison is a brutal business strategist, but he also has a knack for supporting charitable causes. In 1992, Ellison suffered a broken elbow after being involved in a high-speed cycling accident. After undergoing rehabilitation at the University of California in Davis, Ellison decided to establish the Lawrence J. Ellison Musculoskeletal Research Center with a donation of $5 million. In September 2005, a court permitted Ellison to donate $100 million to his own charity organization in order to resolve an insider trading lawsuit stemming from his sale of over $1 billion worth of Oracle stock. Upon learning that a community center in Sderot, Israel was not shielding against missile fire, Ellison gave $500,000 in 2007. In 2010, he joined Warren Buffett's initiative, The Giving Pledge, in which billionaires publicly commit to donating the vast majority of their fortunes to charity. In 2014, the Friends of the Israel Defense Forces received a $10 million donation. Ellison increased his previous donations to the Friends of the Israel Defense Forces to $16.6 million in 2017. His donations were meant to fund the development of recreational and health-related facilities. In May 2016, a cancer research institute named after Ellis, the Lawrence J. Ellison Institute for Transformative Medicine, was founded at the University of Southern California with a donation of $200 million. Larry Ellison started with a very troubled childhood, where he did not see his mother for long and his adoptive mother dies when he was young. This disturbed Ellison a lot and it caused him to drop out of college. He did small jobs for survival until he started his own business. His business sees some success at the start, but again, due to bad decisions and lawsuits, his business suffered and was on the verge of facing bankruptcy. Luckily, it was saved and there was no turning back. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to watch more videos like this.